And hello, it is I, Claude Bawles, starting another little broadcast. I'm not sure if anybody's here because the show may be finishing off and it has a huge following. But we'll just wait and see if anybody turns up. It's a busy time of year for many people that observe Christmas, which, of course, is a cultural tradition not only for Christians, but it's almost gone right away around the world. And it's amazing how, even in countries that that are not Christian as such, it's become a popular thing. Buddhist countries, maybe even Muslim countries. Though I'm not sure. I haven't been in one of those for a long time. So, as the Christmas season approaches, the Claude is planning to have a Christmas show with some carols with a bit of a twist, and maybe some Christmas readings if anybody wants to have anything to do with them, listen to them. And of course, the usual commentary on the assorted characters that come around. Hello, Phantom X11. How are you? Good to see you in the chat. Yeah, so Claude is just raving at the moment, just a little bit. Probably it'd be quite interesting to cover a few points. I had a bit of an argument with this person called Lupin. He was on the show of a Kurisu, and the topic of the show was not particularly complimentary to Kent. So, of course, Lupin rushed on to try and defend Kent in any way. So, hello, Phantom X. I'm glad you're coming up. Yes, they're very open as to what the topics are. Oh, uh-oh. It could be interference from the gods. Hello, Phantom X. Are you okay?
Is that better?
Yeah, perfect now. It was a
Okay.
lot of crackling, but and then it stopped, and there you were. So there we go.
Yeah, my mic does that sometimes. I have to unplug it and plug it back in. I don't know why.
Well, it's perfect now. So there you go. Very clear. Yeah, so there's no particular topic. I do have one or two things if we don't have anything to talk about.
No.
And Lupin was one that just drove me crazy listening him to on the show of. Have you heard of Kurisu? Kurisu? Do you
Yeah,
know?
I was watching that show.
Oh, you are, Jen. Yeah, right. Yeah, no, I forget. I just get so confused, everybody. And Lupin is just impossible to argue with. So,
Yeah, I'm sure I'm sure he went to his channel and said, I just checkmated all these atheists.
Yeah, of course. He was so proud of one of his shows, he took it down because I heard something on it. I thought, my goodness, that sounds interesting. I went back to listen again, make sure if I've heard it right. And he's privated it, so can't be very confident. Yeah. So, do you Phantom X? What is your main sort of thing? Are you What do you like to do? You have any particular religious views, or do
Oh,
you?
I'm atheist.
Right. Oh, same. Yeah. 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 Um, I mean, my thing that I get really aggravated about is how, in particular, creationists. I believe that the way they carry on, their children or friends of children's children will end up growing up with no education in the real world. And yeah, I just get really concerned about that. Yeah.
I was brought up with like I went
Mm,
to private Christian schools and
yeah.
it was YEC all
Right.
through high school.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe I might have been more knowledgeable about it, but I think I have a decent handle on like the broad
Mm.
strokes. Here's how evolution works. Maybe not the specifics of
Oh, yeah.
what evolved from what or whatever. But that's. But I feel confident enough that I can talk to most people who don't understand evolution at all
Mhm.
and just clear up misconceptions.
Yeah. Well, I was really lucky. My parents were Christian, but they didn't do the whole anti-evolution thing. In fact, a friend of theirs was a science teacher, and they asked him, how should my son deal with being taught evolution? And their friend, who was a science teacher and Christian, said, "Well, it's true. Evolution is true." So from then on, my parents, they weren't the type of people to say, "You ask the teacher, make a fool of yourself," because they respected this guy a lot. And so I was lucky. But I think
Yeah,
in some circles, the kids would be forced, make absolute fools of themselves. To me, it's sad, but never. Mm.
yeah. No, so yeah, I feel so. I discovered um so I was homeschooled for part of my schooling, and I discovered online some of the curriculum my parents used,
Yeah,
and my brother and I have been going over it on my channel
yeah.
last couple of weeks.
Hmm.
And one thing that kind of hurts uh is he really loved history,
Right.
and he was taught Genesis as history. And so like when he got out in the world,
Yeah.
he when he got out in the world, he was like, all of the history I love and learned and thought I knew, I know nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, that's sad too. It's such a pity because often these kids, they do when they do get older, they begin to resent their parents having misled them. That's the way they feel. And
Yeah,
yeah,
I,
my parents didn't do that, so I don't resent them at all.
yeah, I don't resent my parents. I feel like they were just as much victims as I was,
Right? Yes. Yes. Yeah.
and so it's hard to blame the victim for being a victim.
Mm. But at some stage, it's got to stop. So
Oh, sure,
yeah,
yeah, I'm
because
certainly.
you won't be able to say, "Oh, I don't blame Kent because his parents." No, I hold him to account.
Well, Kent's been told enough times,
Yeah.
and
Mm.
and he should know better, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
you know, individual parents. I mean, it's hard, but at least in my case, I feel like they were trying to do the best they could. They weren't trying to hobble our education in any way.
Right. So they sincerely believed, and yeah,
Yeah,
that's fine. Well, no, I can accept that. No problem. So, but no, it's been a busy week there's been so many shows, and some of them have gone on so long, and I've heard things I thought, "Oh, I'd like to talk about that, or I'd like to highlight that," and then I forget. I forget what they on a 5-hour show, you try find something that you've heard a week ago. You can't.
oh yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah.
If
Mm.
anytime I'm like, especially if I'm listening to a live and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh man, I want to come back and
Look
say
at
something
that.
about this at some time. I'll
Yeah.
just jot down the time code
Good
somewhere.
idea. Well, for me, because I'm in Singapore at the moment, a lot of the shows happen when it's sort of like 3 or 4 in the morning. For me,
Oh, sure.
today is late morning, so it's a good time. But a lot of them happen for 3 or 4 in the morning, and I'm so sort of sleepy. But I don't sleep well, as you get older, you don't sleep well. So I wake up but then I have a pen in my hand and then fall asleep again. But in my semi-consciousness, I'm listening to what's going on. It's quite, it's
Yeah,
quite interesting. Yeah.
there was so speaking of that time code, I have a funny little anecdote.
Mm.
A few months ago when the Proverbs guys did their 24-hour stream,
All right. Yes. Yeah.
Lupin came on at some point
Yeah.
and had this wild idea about the flood and I think giants. And
Oh, right.
I was like, oh man. And so I was out riding my bike. And so I stopped, I got off my bike, I pulled out my phone. I just texted myself the time code so that I could come back and look at it at some point.
Yeah.
And then that stream, like half of it got deleted or something.
Mhm.
And so I never could go back, and I don't even remember what Lupin's crazy idea was, and it's gone now.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah. It's funny how that happens, And so at the time, you remember that's so important, and then, but I mean, my shows sometimes they can get 20, 30 views. Sometimes they get a few hundred. I can never tell which, and it's frustrating because sometimes you think that one that 500, even 1,000 people listen to, well, that wasn't good as the one that 30 listened to. But it's just not the way it works. Yeah.
Yeah, the algorithm seems to be capricious.
Yeah, very. Oh, that's a good word, capricious. I haven't heard that for a while. I like it.
I like that word.
Yeah, very capricious. Yeah. So yes, and then you think, oh well, I'll just have a bit of a rest for a while. But some things you wish need to be preserved because you can't rely on the idiot making the statements on their show that they're going to eventually take it down because they don't want to appear as stupid as they are, and that happens quite a bit.
well luckily some of the people that you and I deal with, they don't realize how stupid they sound.
Yeah. Yes, and they don't actually. I mean, I think Lupin possibly thinks that he's out there winning souls for the Lord. I really do. But
I don't know if he thinks he's winning souls, but he certainly thinks he's winning points.
Points, yeah. Well, he's not. And he's just so I'm beginning to sound a bit like Kent when I say I'm right all the time. I'm right. So what else has been happening? There was a great, Lupin's father is a guy called Hip Hop, is it? It's his stage name.
Don't know anything about the guy. I've just heard the name.
Well, I found a clip. I put it up of Lupin's father talking about Lupin, and Lupin had just played this vulgar clip. That's the only way, of this comedian using the F word, and on his channel, and ha ha. If we'd put it on an atheist channel, we'd have ripped us apart. But anyway, and his father comes on and says, "Oh, that was legendary broadcasting, Lupin." Every second word is F this and F that. So I had to put that up, But only a few people have watched it. Well, more than watch his show. And because I just find that hypocrisy just amazing. I know many Christian people and some lovely people too. No way would they use language like that. That's what you'd expect me to be using, because I'm immoral. Somehow I'm immoral and I'm not saved and all this sort of stuff. So, but whereas I don't. Oh, Big Bad Mama's here. Hello, Big Bad Mama.
You're muted.
Oh. Who's
not
muted?
You.
Oh, no, right. Big Bad Mama. Okay. Big Bad Mama. Ah, here he is. Yes. Yes, we can hear you. Yeah. Your picture has changed.
How's it going?
Good. Yeah. Can you hear me? Yeah. Your picture has changed back. You've reverted.
It's changed back.
Oh.
Is that a Restream / StreamYard thing?
Whoop.
Hello?
I can change it again if you want.
Oh, no. Well, I wasn't attracted to it. I mean, don't get the wrong idea. You could.
What did you say, Phantom? I got my computer's buffering or something.
Oh, I asked if that's a Restream / StreamYard thing. The avatar. Like you have one avatar on Restream, and different one on.
No, I just have whatever Claude uses. I have like 3 to choose from. Restream doesn't even show my avatar at all for some reason.
Oh, right.
Yeah, they seem to drop off. Yeah,
that's why I started. If I go on Hoven's show, I usually show my face because otherwise it's just a black square.
Right.
You could do like Deviant and get like a a virtual camera thing with OBS.
I know. I really should. It's just something else to learn, though. Yeah,
Yes,
I tried to go on Hoven's show today,
Yeah.
and I went on right at the beginning. They put the link out, and there was no sound, and so I went back out, and they never posted the link, and there were a bunch of people in the chat saying, post the link, and they never did. They just ended the show. They tried to bring one person on, but he was never able to connect to it. So it was something on their end. I had a good question for him too.
All right. Well, how does that happen? I mean, even a fool like me, technological midget that doesn't even know what LMBAO means, is it, or whatever? LMBAO, whatever. How can I get my streams mostly right? Mostly. Occasionally I forget to unmute myself. But this highly resourced, ministry with God on its side has so many cock-ups,
I know. It's been going since 2016 or something, right? That channel?
I think Kent is probably the most boomer person I've ever seen in my life.
And he gets, what I do quite like is when he gets annoyed with the tech person. So even if it's Kent's fault, he'll go, do that now, or something. When he starts to get bitchy, I was hoping for an explosion, but it hasn't happened yet. There's still time.
even if the window's in the wrong place on the screen, he'll say, "Move it over,"
Yeah, he is. Sometimes when he's in a debate, he gets very titchy, and then suddenly, after that, there's the stages of evolution of his debate, and the first one is when things start to go wrong, he gets titchy, and then the next stage is to say, "Oh well, look, I've got a lot to do. I'm tired. I've got to go."
Right.
So we should do the 3 stages of the Hoven debate.
I work for a living around here,
Oh yes. Did you see
oh, I'm sorry, Claude. Go ahead.
No. You go for it. I'm fine.
Oh, I was going to ask Phantom if he saw Carisu's show at the end where Lupin played that video.
I was there watching it live, and then I had to jump out for something, and then I heard about it the next day, so I went back and watched it. So yeah,
that was so rude.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
I mean, Carisu had shown him nothing but respect almost the whole time, as far as I could tell. I mean, if anybody was going after Lupin, it was Claude and AJ.
Yes, I was going for it. And Carisu was being nice.
Right.
Carisu, did you see the follow-up video where Carisu? Did you see the follow-up?
I did.
Yeah, that was very good. He came across so well. He's a complete contrast to that other imbecile. I actually said to him, I feel guilty. I sort of lost it a bit. I must practice not losing it with Lupin, but it's very hard. He's such a fool.
I think he
Captive
should do...
Desk says hello. Hi, folks.
Oh, Captive Desk, good to see you. I think that Carisu should do the same show that he did on Hoven with Lupin as the subject matter. Prove Lupin is an idiot. Prove me wrong, or something like that.
Yeah, I tell you what, it'd be a pretty short show. Yeah, so I of course put that up. I might put the original one because I think people need to know, and I would love Kent to see that, what he put up on that. And it's not the only time. Remember someone else's show? He came on and he put this so-called comedian effing. Yeah, God.
Right. Well, he did that a couple times to Gangster Ghost. The first time was he put Andrew Tate on there without even asking Logan's permission, and put that Andrew Tate video on there, which was just rude, And then I think he tried to follow it up with that. Who's the guy? Not Cat.
That other guy, Cat. Someone. So because I've clipped all that, of course, being a little bastard that I am, and I keep putting it up. He doesn't like that, and I say, and Then I've got one of Lupin's father calling that with that
Right.
legendary broadcast. Lupin, it's legendary broadcasting. You can see the apple has, when they say the apple hasn't fallen far from the tree.
No, that's a perfect
it's
example.
a perfect example, my God. But if those parents want to keep Lupin indoors and dumb, they've gone a good way about it. He needs to get out and see the world and contribute. Yeah.
Yeah, you would think the parents would want that
Mm.
for him.
You'd think they'd want that. I'd want that. Even if I'd raised someone like Lupin. Yeah. Oh, did you see Phantom Man, Big Bad Baba, Kent's thing? I did a little clip of it. He wants you to support writing letters to
Oh, yeah.
to get the pardon from Trump. And then he says, because he's such a big data, he says, just pay my what is it? It's like compensation.
Compensation or
Yeah, pay that.
whatever.
You don't get that with a presidential pardon.
No.
Sorry.
I mean,
sorry,
that
he
would
wants,
be something legal. He wants people to write into Trump to pardon him from his tax crimes. And he also mentioned to get compensation for his years of being in prison or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. But I could see some of his people doing, writing these letters.
Well, I can see some people writing some letters telling him not to, because when he did it last time, when Trump was in office, he did it, and people like certain people that I know actually wrote saying, "Don't," they had a petition, and I think they filled in various petitions saying, "No, ignore him," and of course he got ignored. He's totally ignored by Trump. Totally ignored.
Well,
Trump doesn't.
I mean, Kent's kind of a big deal in this community. But like, I'd never heard of the guy until I don't know, maybe a year or two ago. And I went to one of his seminars in the 90s, and I didn't even know who he was.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, he's kind of a nobody.
Hello, Deviant.
Hi, Deviant.
Hello. Hi.
Deviant cast out, as they say in France. Get it the right way around,
I cast it out.
Yes, why not?
I mean, people have only heard of Kent, and I've heard of him for probably 20 years because I studied geology, and creationism was, dealt with geology. So I heard of him through that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not saying no one's heard of him. I'm just saying, like, he's not in the zeitgeist.
No, he's not going to be like somebody that's going to be in Trump's. Trump's not going to even have heard of him.
Yeah.
Right.
And who cares if he got pardoned or not? I mean, it still means you're guilty of a crime.
That would actually be him accepting.
Yeah. Accepting guilt for the first time.
Yeah. So I guess that's a step up.
He's too dumb to realize it, though. He doesn't understand, So, but no, there's all sorts of. And remember, people were signing petitions, so we're going to do this, that, and the other. I mean, I followed Kent for a long time, and each one of them failed. Every step of failed. Every legal thing failed. His appeal to the president failed, but it was always just going to happen. Just around the corner. Just wait.
His lawsuit against the feds for $500 million.
The man is deluded when it comes to that. I hope that cost him a lot. His poor donors probably would have paid for that. You don't file lawsuits for nothing, and you don't get out of them too for nothing. Someone would have to have been paid, and it's unfortunately that's where your money goes when you donate to Kent. Yeah.
Yeah, or else it gets stolen by one of his tech people.
Mm.
Ca-
And I'm not sure which is the best use.
That's probably the best use. Buying drugs for Steve Lynn is probably the best use of the money.
Have I ever told you guys how I heard about Kent Hovind for the very, very first time?
No, I
No.
don't think so.
So it was, I've been thinking a lot about the time span, and it have to have been in 2006 because I lived in the same city as I do now, and the car I was driving was my parents' Volvo uh, 470, and that was uh, um, what's the word? Trashed, you know, put in the junkyard and crushed into a very small cube.
Oh,
In 2006, we have had it since 86, and it was in that car, so it had to have been then. Uh, and I was listening to the radio because there was no CD player in that car, and I didn't have a tape with me. So I was listening to the radio, and there was a program, and they were talking to someone who had been um, working at this place in Florida, and it was talking about how the the people working there were not abused, but heavily overworked, especially very young people. And uh, the theme of the show, it was sort of not a documentary, but um, a story about preachers in the US who defraud their congregants and their followers. This was in 2006.
wow. So that
Uh-huh.
right before he went to prison, then,
Yeah. And
or maybe as he was in trouble, and maybe that's why the story was made.
yeah, because there were other preachers mentioned, but this was for some reason the one they had kind of focused in on. And as I said, they interviewed some woman who had been working, some young woman or girl even. And it when I have been thinking about it since then, because I I forgot all about it until I came across Kent again, and stories started to pop up, and was like, this is so familiar.
So, like
Because
10 years later, after he got out of prison, you probably heard about him again.
yeah, and it was the same things that we have heard now about uh, marrying people, trying to marry off every single girl that's there. Some, I believe the I say woman, but she was a girl. I think she was 17 at the time, but when the interview was happening, uh, I think she was a bit older. It was some years ago. She had been working in the kitchen, and the same things that we have heard other people tell from his new DAL place. But I thought it was so funny because I the whole thing about creationism and this quote unquote debating about evolution, or even the idea that you were to um, teach the Bible as some sort of science book in school, that probably would cause most people in Sweden to go to the hospital to check so they hadn't gotten a brain tumor if they heard it. Uh, because that's just, yeah, it's insanity. But I thought it was kind of funny that already back then I, by pure happenstance, heard about it, and it was about fraudulent preachers in the US.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Have you ever read these? There's people that talk about, is it good to debate creationists, or like scientists to debate creationists? Um, can I read a couple of these, Claude?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
So, a debate implies a win or lose situation, which is not scientific, is the first one. A debate, yeah,
sorry, what are you reading?
I'm reading To Debate or Not to Debate. So this is creation evolution debates.
No, yeah. I mean, where are you getting this from? Or is that the name of it?
Oh, it's some Creation Evolution Journal, Volume 3.
Oh, okay.
It's just on the web, but
What
it
are you reading, BBM?
um okay, can I keep going?
Sorry, yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, that's okay, Vanna. A debate misleads people into thinking that creation and evolution are somehow equal in standing, that the scientific community is equally divided on the issue, and that the whole matter is far from being resolved scientifically. Um, I'll read maybe one or two more. Let's see. Let's see. Creationists wish to debate scientists, particularly well known ones, in order to legitimize themselves and creationism in the eyes of the public. Thus, the mere occurrence of such an event, regardless of the outcome, tends to make creationism seem more respectable. And then it also has one at the end that says debating is a creationist idea, and scientists play by the creationist standards and are on their terms when they cooperate with this activity, thereby allowing themselves to be manipulated toward creationist ends. So, what do you guys think about that? About debating
What?
creationists?
I kind of agree if you're talking about what scientists are doing, but if you're talking about like people like, you or Claude debating, well, I mean, I guess you're a scientist, but you're not.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not like a well-known scientist. I'm just
Right, yeah.
run of the mill.
Yeah. What I say is creationism needs to be pushed against, because there's some people who will, if it isn't for these debates, they'll never hear anything from the other side.
Yeah, I agree with you.
But if you want to say, like, Neil deGrasse Tyson should involve himself in debates or something like that, someone who would legitimize it, I would say no. That's best left to people who won't legitimize it by being on that platform.
That's a very good explanation. Yes.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah,
those days are done when the big names are debating people. Like Hovind will no longer get the chance to debate the big names. Dawkins isn't going to debate him, or Bill Nye, or any of these guys that are like scientists or science popularizers or what have you. Those days are done, I think. And go ahead, Deviant. I think I interrupted you.
yeah, no, I was just gonna say, first of all, I wholeheartedly agree with the Phantom on everything. I would say that the biggest point is, if it were to be debated in an academic setting, that's where I would definitely draw the line. I also agree with people who are big science communicator names, like Dawkins, like Neil deGrasse Tyson. Those people should also not involve themselves with that sort of debate. But as Phantom pointed out, to some people, it's their only chance to even hear that there is another position. And even though I don't think so, to me, creationism is, and I'm talking about young Earth creationism specifically. That's on level with any conspiracy theory. It's like flat Earth or lizard people or QAnon or what have you. And you wouldn't have like the UN's Ministry of Health. That's not the word. That's not what they are called. But talking to some QAnon nut job about the safety of people to save them from, or safety of children to save them from being slaughtered for drinking blood ceremonies. And I think the same is with this. You don't have to legitimize people's delusions.
I
Well,
mean,
I
in
would
this,
just
oh,
go
go
ahead,
ahead, Vance.
Vivian. Oh, I would just like to say real quick,
oh, go ahead.
I am against blood drinking rituals of children. Just saying.
Yeah, me too.
All right, that's important in case Dan is listening, because he will ask a question like that.
I think in this country there are so many people in power that are young Earth creationists that it's especially important to fight back when we hear misinformation and pseudoscience and that kind of thing. Because as you guys said, somebody, like Lupin or one of these people, they don't want to hear even about the other side, and they're not going to delve into it except in these debates. That's the only place they're going to hear about it. They're not going to go read the scientific papers. But it's in this country, there's people that are leading Congress and major parts of our government that they are young Earth creationists.
What?
Yeah. Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, is a young Earth creationist.
The
There's
He's not the only
no
one.
there's no test for intelligence to become a elected for government.
Right. You have to be religious to be elected to begin with. Atheists don't get elected to Congress.
We've got one, I believe.
Do we?
I believe so. I believe there was one professing atheist in
one in history, one in probably the history of the country.
I mean, I love you guys, but your country is so.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, of course,
it's got
there
some of the
shouldn't be.
worst elements in the world. There's certain things, it's the worst. There's great things about it, and there's horrible things about this country.
Yeah, and of course, you need to take. To some extent, you need to accept that you have to take the good with the bad. It's just the balance between the two seems to be a bit off at
The
the
bad
moment.
is really bad. I mean,
yeah,
when
it's really harmful.
when we carpet bombed countries for no reason whatsoever, I mean, it's hard to find a balance to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Jared Huffman from California.
Oh, the one atheist. That's funny. Oh, I'm gonna listen back and look that guy up.
Yeah, I just looked it up on Wikipedia. There's apparently there was one before him, who retired in 2013.
He's from California, right?
Yeah, both of them were from California.
Right.
Okay, so note that Sweden actually had a state church until New Year's Eve 1999.
Okay. So the government and the church were tied at the hip.
Well, yes and no. So it was officially the state church, but just as, for instance, we are a monarchy. We have a king, but the king has no say. He doesn't even have the right to vote, and he doesn't have the right to say anything in he can't express any political opinions.
Like he has no franchise at all. He can't vote like in a regular election, like
Nope.
at all.
Nope.
Wow,
Hmm.
wow, that's
He's
crazy.
a pure figurehead then.
Yeah,
Mm.
he's like a living statue.
Yeah, I mean, he's got less rights than you do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's compensated with quite a bit of a good salary, I think.
Well, sure,
of
sure.
course, of course. But he also has to travel. I mean, has to. His job is to represent Sweden and uh, be like a PR person.
Oh,
And
Serge the car hauler, excuse me, Deviant. Serge the
Yes.
car hauler's here.
Yes, that's great. I just said welcome. Hi, Serge.
Good to see you.
Yes.
I saw you on Kent's show one time.
Yes, and we've had quite a few discussions, and I appreciate Serge has a different point of view to me, but he allows me to put my comments up, and so I appreciate
cool.
that. I think anybody can if you can say things and have disagreements, and he probably tends to support Hovind, shall we say, more than me.
Yeah.
But that doesn't matter, So
He hauls Ferraris around the
yeah,
country.
which is quite impressive.
Interesting. Go ahead,
By
Deviant. I'm
hand?
sorry. Yeah, by hand.
No, I was just saying that even though we have a king, he doesn't have any power. And the same thing is to be said with the Church of Sweden was the state church by tradition, but and we did vote for the church. What's the word? Those who govern the church.
Like the bishops or whatever.
The clergy or
Yeah, more like the political side of the church.
oh,
So
okay.
there were actual parties, and those
Hi,
who
Robin. Love
those
you.
who still are engaged with the church, they are they can still I can still vote in the church elections, but it's not like who the person to lead, who the bishop is going to be. It's more the people behind that drives the church in certain directions. It's a bit difficult to explain, but the point is that even though we had the state church, the only thing that it really affected people was if you were born in Sweden and your parents were members of the church, you became a member of the church automatically. So you
But that
didn't
didn't
have
mean you didn't have to. You had to go, or
no
nobody was
no
obligated to attend
no
church.
no. And we have been very secular nation since, well, at least last 50 plus years, with no praying in school and none of that since like the 60s.
So the taxpayers are paying for the royalty, right?
Yes, that's part of
So
our
is
tax.
there any pushback against that to get rid of them?
Oh yeah, there are. It's not that um, big of a deal or a discussion point. But there will always be when it's time for, especially around the election,
Mhm.
there are always people and people within the political parties that lift those questions. But most there aren't like it's not a discussion that's really, it blossoms up from time to time. Oftentimes when something happens, like uh, when the king was caught smoking.
Smoking
Yeah.
cigarettes?
Yes.
Oh my God. I mean, he just sounds like he's like some slacker government employee, and like there'd be some sort of a movement to trim government spending, and like he would be first on the list because if he doesn't have any power, what is he doing? I mean, I know it's a tradition that goes back, however many hundreds of years, but um,
Yeah, so he is he's the figurehead. He is the head of state in Sweden. So he opens the um, uh, not the government, the
Parliament
Riksdag.
building or something,
No,
Reichstag.
Riksdag. It's like your Congress
Ah.
right?
when they open. They
You mean
there
like
is
open the front door?
no no when they open,
Oh,
when there has been
open the session of Congress. Yeah.
Ceremony, yeah,
yes,
yeah.
after the election, and there has been change of power, and or the term has began anew, and there is a new 4-year term. He
So
That's all
opens
he.
it.
That's all he
so
does.
Well, he also gives out the Nobel Prize,
Okay.
and he travels around the world and creates personal relationships with other leaders around the world. So he is like a living PR person, and I I'm actually, which might be kind of strange. Uh, so I have to preface this, because when I just say it right out, it sounds very weird. Uh, no, I will say it first, and then I will explain. I'm actually a royalist, meaning I really like our king. I don't. I think it's an obsolete thing, and I think that once our king is dead or decides to step down, we should just get rid of the monarchy. It is obsolete. However, I really, really like our king because he is the least royal king you could ever imagine. He's really this guy who's been born into a position that he is not suited for.
I don't know. That sounds pretty kingly to me.
Mark Reeders made a comment. Oh no, deviant.
Is he
But
saying
that's
that to
fine.
Is he saying that to Deviant because she's a
Yeah.
royalist?
Yeah,
Yes, I think so.
Isn't he in the
but
Yeah.
Commonwealth and he
Yes,
loves
but that
Charles the
doesn't.
Third?
No,
Mark Reed, I
I
heard you
don't
love
think
Charles
so.
the Third. Is that true?
Down with aristocracy says, off with their
Oh,
heads, maybe.
okay.
Yeah. Saj,
no, but
Saj,
I
yeah.
don't support
Mm,
I don't support monarchies, or
mm,
think it's a good
yeah.
way to. But as I said, he's just this guy. He does a good job as he does, but he's also very much not suited. Have you ever seen our king?
I
Do
don't.
you know?
I don't
Uh,
think so.
no.
Is it Gustafsson or Gustav or what's his
Yeah.
name?
So it's Carl Gustav, but
Okay.
he's Carl the 16th Gustav.
Okay.
Um,
Is he old now?
Yeah, he is. So he's 78, I believe. Yeah, he turns 17. I'm pretty sure he's born in 1946. Yeah. So
um,
he's
Wow.
old.
Mark has made his feelings clear. Charles III is apparently a vampire. Serge's interesting fact about some kings is they have matching DNA with most of the people they rule over. They must get around. Well, that's one explanation. The other is that, for example, if you're the king of Sweden, you probably have Scandinavian type DNA, I imagine,
Well,
and many of your subjects will have Scandinavian DNA, but you're not. It doesn't mean you've been running around impregnating the population.
he's actually more French than Swedish because
Oh, that case
our,
is all right. Yeah.
yeah, because our king was
Oh, I love him
he wasn't
already.
very well liked, and he was kind of mad, and he didn't have any sons that he liked, and yada yada yada. In the end, there were no one to take the throne, so Jean Baptiste Bernadotte, who was a
Count
general,
Bernadotte, yes.
yes, who was
I know.
a, I believe he was a general under Napoleon. He fought with Napoleon during the French Revolution.
Yeah.
He was brought to Sweden and became the adopted son of our then king. So his line is the line of kings that we have now, kings and queens, because the next one will be a queen.
Can I give you an
If there's
interesting? Can I give you an interesting fact about
Yeah.
an American president?
Mm.
So we had a president named John Tyler. Phantom, are you American or Canadian?
I'm American.
Okay. Do you know who John Tyler was?
I know the name. I couldn't tell you anything about the guy.
So he was born in 1790, and he has a grandson, a biological grandson that's still alive.
Wow.
Try to wrap your head around that. His grandfather was born in 1790.
what? And he
John
has a
Tyler's grandson is still alive. He's 96 years old.
wow.
It's amazing.
That Serge says there's rumors that Bill has some black sons running around.
Oh my God.
I don't know. I do, funnily enough, even though I'm French, I've heard that rumor too, but I don't know if he was a guy. He was such a faithful man, but I can't believe it.
I thought those royals in Europe were always inbreeding, like the Habsburgs.
The Habsburgs, yes, but
They just
got this
kept getting
terrible
these
jaw,
chins, these big
yeah.
chins and underbites,
and other things as well. But they're big but useless. And no, it was very sad. And then they become hemophiliacs, and they can bleed to death easily. So,
was the Russian Tsar Nicholas? Was he of the Habsburgs?
I believe no, but I think he still maybe, but he had definitely hemophilia. But it comes from being inbred. So
okay, I know his child had
hemophilia. Serge knows that John Tyler's the 10th.
The 10th president still has a living grandson.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Insane.
Yeah, because they were running around doing it like rabbits, from what I could see. So I'm not surprised to some extent. They weren't moral, good moral people like the Claude. Yeah.
I mean, John Tyler was president either during the 1830s or the 1840s.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure. Maybe it was the 1850s, somewhere along that line.
But we'll have to look him up.
It's
I have it pulled up. He was in office from 1841 to 1845.
Okay.
He looked very no nonsense looking at the picture of him. Yeah.
Very long face.
Long face. Yes, I don't think he doesn't look warm to me. But he was there for what? How long?
He was president
4 years. Yes.
4 years. He was the only president that died, and at his funeral had a Confederate flag for his, coffin draped in a Confederate flag.
Wow.
because he died during the Civil War, and he was
Okay,
and
yeah,
where he was from.
that makes sense. That makes sense.
How interesting. He was born into a slaveholding Virginia family. So
Virginia, yeah.
they were probably very good Christians because, the Bible allows that. Oh, good. That's going to spark off a whole new fight, isn't it? If he's saying that. Oh, wow. No, very interesting. You're a fount of all things not good, Big Bad Mama.
that could be debated.
If you could only forget the geological column, you could go and work at DNA.
DNA.
DAL. Sorry. DNA, yeah. So that was a slip of the tongue.
That's funny. That's like a Freudian slip of some
Very
type.
much, yeah,
A scientific Freudian slip.
Hovendian.
I offered Kent to run the science center, and he just flat out said no.
No way.
He can't have anybody who knows anything about science running the science center. He must have liked shrimp gumbo and iced tea. Says Serge. So yes.
Can I show you guys it's a 33-second video of our king.
Yeah.
It's in Swedish,
Yeah.
but it doesn't
Yes.
really matter what they're saying. Or
And I do that, and then I'll put Serge on. He's going to be on in a minute too. So if you play your video clip, and then we'll go for it. Yeah. Yep.
Wait, present.
I'll bring you on in a minute, Serge. I just I should bring you on now. Do I have to click
bring
on
him
it?
on. Bring him on now.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that we did right. Okay.
Can
just
you
listen-
see?
Yep. Yeah. Okay.
Wow, hello,
Good.
can you guys hear me?
Hi,
Yes,
Serge.
we
Yes.
can. We're
Good to
just going to
see you.
watch a little clip from
Yeah,
the event,
cool.
and then we'll
This
come
is-
on to you. Yeah.
This is so cool, thank you. I didn't know I
Thank
could
you.
push a couple buttons, and here I am.
Okay. Yes, here we are. Okay, let's have a
Let's
look at
see
this.
Yes. So they are talking. This is the queen, of course, Sylvia, and this is our king.
Looks like yeah.
So Sylvia is very much she's an advocate for children with handicaps,
Right.
disabled children, and so that's also one thing they do. They engage in different charities and become ambassadors for them, which of course helps them.
Okay, it's a 30-second video, but it's not going to be a 5-minute introduction.
No.
Okay, so yeah, play that video.
Ett litet barn. Det är
That's
det
what
som är
they
så
are
viktigt.
talking about.
Oh.
Ursäkta, jag står och tittar på en liten katt som sitter här. Jag vet inte om du kan...
He says, "Excuse me, I'm standing here looking at a little cat
Oh,
who's over here.
It's exactly what I thought he said.
Can you film it, please?"
Oh,
Den var väldigt söt faktiskt.
Så det känns lite grann som man är mitt ute på landsbygden. Och det är vi inte. Där är vi rätt gammalt.
There you go.
now, I thought he was going to say that he looks like an accountant. So I thought he was going to say, look at that cat over there. That's costing us, 5 kroner a week in cat food. That's what I, So
costing the
obviously,
taxpayers.
I was wrong. Very good, thank you. And how are you, Serge?
Oh,
Have you been
fabulous.
driving the Ferrari lately?
I delivered some Ferraris to Michigan, to
Wow.
the Michigan Ferrari dealer. I just posted a video about that yesterday, and they gave me a brand new truck. But I had to wait for it to get the hydraulic pump installed. So I went to, where I went to? Henry Ford Museum in Detroit.
Oh,
Wow.
And my wife just got done editing that video, posted it on the channel. Very interesting museum, more than cars there. They had airplanes, they had Buckminster Fuller's geodesic dome. I don't know if you're familiar with Buckminster Fuller, real interesting inventor guy that I don't know. I like to watch all kind of success stuff, motivational stuff, and I kind of like got into P.T. Barnum and some of those guys.
Oh, I like P.T. Barnum. I was interested in P.T. Barnum for a long time.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm in my truck right now. I got the
Well-
Be Do Have towel. I'm in my
That's
semi
not a
truck.
truck. That's a hotel room.
Yeah, we can watch
It's
some.
huge.
We got some TV here. I just rigged up the TV in the new truck, so I can pause Kent Hovind and then say my thoughts. And then when I go to car shows, let me show you. This is here. Let me get the light so you guys can definitely see. Can't steal this invention, but this is a treat for you guys. Check out these. Here, let me turn on off this light. Check out these license plate ties.
Oh wow!
Did you invent that?
That's Arizona. This is my idea. I came up with this idea all myself. So if you lay a tie on the backside of a, you guys say number plate probably, diagonal, and you could cut out the tie, and then got a piece of elastic. So just hang it on my neck when I go to a car show, and I made a little hinge in the middle. Got Arizona and Utah with me, so
Cool.
I don't know.
Oh.
It's just I'm a real car guy. I'm here to touch, someone's exotic car. Here I got a Bugatti model.
Oh,
so
still in the original packaging.
Yeah. Just I don't know. So when I'm traveling, I try to find deals, and then hopefully my wife doesn't find out, and then she wants to buy a purse,
Okay, what
Right.
celebrity does Serge look like?
I'm trying to figure that out.
What? Look like me.
let's have a look.
Wow.
Do you want me to tell you?
Yeah.
Daniel Craig.
Oh, James Bond. Right. Yes.
Am I wrong?
Yes.
I'm gonna write that. I'm gonna study that. I've been told. I've been told before.
You're kind of a cross between Daniel Craig and Jude Law.
Daniel Craig.
Hey.
And he sounds like Aiden, or should I say, Aiden will sound like him when he imitates him. Ah, there we go.
English accent.
Hey, Claude. Robin had something in chat you wanted to ask Serge.
Oh, sorry. Oh, you're right. And yeah. Okay. Where is it? Do you have train horns?
Do I have train horns? It's maybe I should pull away and sound this horn. I don't have one on this truck.
Sound a horn.
I mean, I just have like a truck horn.
Just
It's
do a little
loud.
toot,
Let's
just
hear
a
it.
tiny one.
Just
Can
do
you do a
a
little one? You don't
little
upset
toot.
the neighbors.
There's a
Just
guy
a little
sleeping next to me right there. But
Oh,
I mean-
is he sleeping?
Is he sleeping?
yeah, you want me to go unhook his airlines? Just kidding.
Yes.
You know what you do? you know what you do? You mix up their airlines, so then when they apply air to release the brake on their trailer, it pushes the service brake, and then they try to drive and it doesn't go anywhere, and they're like, "What's up?"
That sounds
my
dangerous.
Well, they won't
Robin.
go anywhere.
Robin has train horns too.
Oh, that's cool,
has
Robin.
train horns. Peter is on now too.
Hi, Peter.
Fill me in on you guys where you're from. I kind of want to,
Okay. Well, I'm French, living in Singapore at the moment. Phantom X, you're from the United States of America, is that right?
Yeah, from Oklahoma.
Big Bad Mum is from
California.
Hawaii. Oh, okay.
Hawaii.
No, California.
Deviant is German.
No, I'm
Swedish.
not.
Swedish. And
I'm
Peter, I
Swedish.
don't know where Peter's
Pete
from.
is from the Netherlands.
Yes.
Oh, is it the famous Peter?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, hello, Peter. You didn't said anything yet.
Serge, do you know who Aaron Ra is?
No.
Okay, he's a famous atheist, but Peter works with Aaron Ra a lot.
Yeah, I don't have too many atheist friends. Just you guys, probably.
Okay. Well, welcome aboard.
We're very inspirational. You will be motivated,
I'll be motivated.
but I don't know which way.
Yeah. I mean, we can be friends. I'm all up for a good discussion. You know what I mean? Like, like I feel like the politics, they totally don't know how to discuss ideas. You know, they get so personal, and it's like, come on, just stick to like business. You know what I mean? You know, like a good discussion. You know, but that's everyone can refine that. You know what I mean? We could all refine a better way to converse and share ideas, and that's what I kind of like.
True. That's
you know,
true.
That's the art of everything. Any kind of debate, any kind of sharing ideas. You know, I mean, even talking to my wife too today, we had like.
Oh my God!
I learned something today talking to her.
Yeah.
You know, and I had to explain to her, and I think she agreed because I'm always right.
Yeah. Ooh, it sounds like someone else we know.
Sounds like Ken Hovind.
I mean, well, I mean, if you get, like, I don't want to steal the show or anything, but I mean, I told her, I said, babe, maybe I should make a YouTube video about this and see what the audience says. And she's like, no, don't say this. But you guys, you're not part of that group. I had that's why I can't sleep, and I've went on YouTube right now, and I was like, no, I don't think I'm gonna watch Whacking Atheist, and then boom, you're up, and I don't know, like I'm trying to figure this mother-in-law thing out. We had a little problem, and I crashed a car, and my life's kind of messed up.
You should imply the 2-rule system. That really works for me.
Yeah, what is that?
Yeah, rule number 1, Peter's always right. Rule number 2, if Peter isn't right, immediately apply rule number 1.
And his girlfriends never agree on that.
They no.
Hey,
no. They
you don't
made
need
their
women
own
to agree
rules,
with you.
and
you just need them to
I get
respond.
outvoted.
You need women to respond to you. You don't need them to agree, right?
At some point, I want to get a word in edgewise. I mean, responding is nice.
Peter,
but...
we've been talking to you for 20 minutes now. You haven't said anything.
No, because I thought I had unmuted, but I hadn't.
Well, that's not really our problem, is it?
Peter, the professional.
I'm the professional, so I'm almost ready to take over the Dinosaur Adventureland live streams. This week, did you see it, Big Bad Mama? There was one live stream. There was one live stream this week, and I agreed with everything in it. It was scary.
Well, because it was all silence?
Yes. And no Kent Hovind, and no Kent Hovind,
I
and
saw
no
that
slides.
Ken Hovind wasn't even in the video. That was hilarious.
How
It
about
was
this?
just a bookcase, and I can't disagree with the bookcase.
How about this thought for Peter is always right. If Eve would have, or how would it go? If Adam didn't listen to Eve, we'd be in a different world right now, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
but
no,
you see,
no.
it was God's will. So
She
it
would have been
happened.
booted, and he wouldn't
No,
have been booted.
Are you sure it's God's will? It was free will.
No, free will was what Lilith did. He said,
what?
"Fuck it, I'm not taking part in this. Get Adam a new wife." So,
Yeah. Well,
and now
But
she's
if-
a co-host
if-
on my
if-
channel, which is also funny.
If that whole thing hadn't happened in the garden, then Jesus would never have
Yeah,
come to earth.
there wouldn't be a reason for Jesus.
Uh-huh. So maybe
it
women
was
are a good thing.
from what I was taught in my growing up in church and Baptist faith, God knew all of this would happen all along. That's what I was taught, and it was just it's still free will, but it's an option if you want to take it.
You can't.
Is what I was told.
No, you can't have free will if God knows the final outcome.
Could you?
I can explain this very easy. If God knows that I am going to die as an atheist, Do I have free will to become a Christian?
So,
I think
So
of it
how
as
do
a
you-
parent.
H-
Okay,
how
like
do you?
my dad told me with my first wife, he said, bad idea. That's what my dad told me. She was Ukrainian. He sat me down. He wasn't cool like some of the other guys I know where on the wedding day, he goes, hey, pick any color Corvette you want off this lot. Just don't go get married today. That's people I know that has happened. And guess what? The guy said, no Corvette, Dad, I'm getting married. It didn't work out. Sometimes our parents are smarter.
Yeah, no,
For
but you
us.
didn't. You didn't answer my question. So my question is specific. If God knows that I'm going to die an atheist, do I still have free will to convert to Christianity?
Are you sure you know that you're going to die an atheist? Are you sure about
I know 100% certain that I'm going to die an atheist. Yes.
that?
Well,
Well, you're a pretty certain person. I mean, I don't know if I'll wake up tomorrow
I did
morning,
a
you know
show
what I mean?
on the Quran for several years. I'm currently doing a show on the Bible that has run for almost 2 years, I think now, and we're not even halfway in. I am 100% certain that I'm going to die an atheist. I don't even have to look at Buddhism or Hinduism.
So with that in mind, again, ask your question so I can consider it again.
So if God knows that I'm going to die as an atheist, do I have free will to convert to Christianity?
I think so.
Then I'm not going to die as an atheist. That makes God not omniscient.
Let's say was Serge destined to be the car hauler, and should have I committed to this brand new truck when every day I tell my wife I should do something else and be home every night?
Well, that's different. That's different. You're not omniscient.
It's
according to Christianity, is God omniscient?
Yes. Or
does God know
faiths.
Does God know every outcome or everything?
See, again, I'm coming back when you ask these questions. Again, I think of a parent, child.
Just stick. No, we're not talking about parents. We're talking about God.
Well, hold on.
Hold on. Does God know every outcome?
Yeah, he knows every outcome.
So
like
if
a
God
parent
knows,
would know every outcome too.
But if God knows every outcome and He knows that I'm going to die an atheist, is there a possibility for me to apply free will and become a Christian?
Yes.
So I can trump God. I'm more powerful than God is.
Peter, let Phantom.
I'm not sure I'm not saying you're wrong, but that's incorrect. By the way, that's a quote I heard a race car manager say.
Let me explain. Because if I can convert to Christianity and God knows I'm going to die as an atheist, God is wrong.
It's not necessarily.
Can God be wrong?
God can give you free will.
But can He be wrong?
God knows you need to buy a car, but He can let you choose between Ford and Ferrari.
Yes, but that's why I was specific.
Or a bicycle, or walk, or you chop your own legs off and say, "I don't need to get around."
Hold on. You're changing the parameters.
Yeah. Let me try to follow you again. I'm sorry.
If God knows the outcome of everything, and God knows for certain that I'm going to die an atheist, can I use free will to become a Christian?
Then creating all this would be kind of boring from his point of view.
Because if I can become a Christian, I'm proving that God is wrong. Can God be wrong?
You have a point. I don't know if I can answer this.
That's why you cannot have free will if the Christian God exists.
Can Phantom please
Yeah, go ahead, Phantom.
Thank you. Serge, can you define free will?
Can I define free will?
Yeah.
Um,
I just want to make sure that you and I are talking about the same thing.
Yeah, good point. Good thing to define for us in this conversation. You guys, I didn't think I'd be debating tonight. Or
don't worry, we want you to come back, so we're not going to be too mean.
This is fun. No, I enjoy the.
It's not debating. It's just
like
it's not debating. It's trying to make each other think.
We're just discussing. Yeah, and you know, and even Proverbs, which you may not like because in the Bible says a man sharpens another man, you know, like iron sharpens iron, and you know. So yeah, nothing personal.
No.
Define free will. Free will is. Oh man. Well, don't mix free will with a ship without a rudder. You know, I'm big on like goals and like having a direction, looking for a sense of direction. You know what I mean? So, so free will definitely has goals. Should have goals. You know, or you shouldn't eliminate goals or some kind of vision, you know, some kind of dream. Because I think,
sure.
You know, even if you're atheist or you still got to have something to look forward toward, right? So define free.
Can I give you a couple definitions and maybe you can tell me?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got libertarian free will, which means the ability to have done something different than what you did. Like if you were to go back in this time, you may have done something else, even if all the things were the same. That's libertarian free will. Then you've got another kind of free will where it's the ability to act on your preferences without influence, outside influence. And it sounds to me like what you're saying is the latter kind, and Peter's talking about the former kind.
I need to write this down, but I don't have it handy. So we got outside influence, and the first one was.
Well, no, the first one is the ability to have done other than what you did. So that's libertarian free will.
I probably wouldn't have been a car hauler, just the regular jewelry thief, man. That would have been an easier career.
Sure. And then the other one is the ability to act on your preferences without outside influence. So you want to do a thing, so you just you're able to do that thing.
Man,
and maybe neither of those fit your definition of free will. I was just, it sounded to me like you were saying one thing, Peter was saying another thing, and maybe that's where the disconnect was.
Why do you guys care so much about free will? Like,
I didn't bring it up.
I mean.
I'm more interested in Free Willy. The whale. I hasten to add. Yeah, I talk about. Remember that ad? That whale. Look, just to let you know, folks, my show's normally about an hour and a half maximum. So in about 9 minutes, we'll have to stop. We're welcome to keep going in the meantime, but just to give a bit of an idea, in about 9 minutes, we'll have to.
Finally, I get to join Claude, and now you're closing it down.
Well, no, 9 minutes. You know,
is free will is free will actually happiness? You know what I mean? Like, ignorance is bliss, right?
I don't know that I agree with that, but
have you guys heard of Bob Lazar, the guy that the U.S. government's trying to delete because he kind of like worked at Area 51, S4, and helped reverse engineer alien UFOs. And you guys, I mean, look him up. And recently, I seen a clip of him, and someone asked him, "What do you know in your classified position that you worked at? What did you learn about what the government knew about faith and religion and stuff?" And he got kind of defensive, and then he's like, "Okay, fine, I'll just tell you." He kind of like looked like he was in deep thought, and his answer was simple. He said, "The government thinks we are containers. We are empty containers spiritually, and we need to hold something." And so then the interviewer asked, Are you saying that we just have to put something in there so nothing evil gets in?" And he's like, yes. So we need to believe in something, you know. And I talk a lot about believing in yourself, believing in your goals. You know, that's why I'm all about my own phrase and my t-shirts, be, do, have. Decide who you want to be, who you are, take those actions, and you have the result. And if I would have known, I would have dreamed bigger, because I see all these wealthy people that I deliver these exotic cars for, and I was like, wow, I didn't know you could name a street after yourself. You know. So I mean, how does that connect to free will? Like, we're kind of like programmed to accept less, you know. And if God is real, and if we live in this abundant world that the Bible talks about, cup overflowing, and all this nature is free energy and all this stuff, then that's why I got interested in Kent Hovind, because of the communist stuff that my parents escaped from. And they wanted you to believe, communist mentality wants you to believe in lack and not enough. What my mom says, hey, pick the strawberries before the birds pluck at it. And you know how the birds do it? They'll just take one little bit of the strawberry. They don't think about poor people in Africa dying and you got to eat your entire plate. You know what I mean? Like parents told you, eat your whole plate, because children in Africa are starving or something. That's what I was told. And so, like, the animals, they don't know to eat the entire strawberry. Or these Midwestern cornfields, a deer will take one bite of a corn kernel and jump to the next field. Nature, like, I drove 100 times past this building that some farmer wrote on the roof in the shingles, study natural law. And then I was like, I'm going to Google that phrase. And I realized that nature thinks only success. The deer doesn't have to save his corn kernels. He knows there's another field he can bite off of and ruin the entire corn stalk just with one bite and not eat the, like, nature is rich and we are rich. And that's what, like, all these faiths try to teach, but some are suppressed. If we are made in God's image, then we are creators too. We are like God, in that sense. An elephant can't think of cutting a tree and building a fence to keep the alligator out. It's us. We have that human ability to build tools and bicycles and computers, Steve Jobs, and race cars. So
that's not entirely correct. Not entirely correct. I've seen an elephant that can paint.
You're right. You're right.
And we know for a fact that
you're right about that.
Chimps are now entering the Stone Age. They're making stone tools, so they're catching up.
And they have some telepathy communication too, right? I seen some stuff about that. Where, like,
I don't think that's true though. But
okay.
Crows and ravens use tools as well, and there are lots of animals that use tools. If you look at Asia, there are monkeys that are running criminal gangs with dedicated people. So there's some of them are lookouts, some of them are explorers to find loot, and then you have the looters themselves, and then you have a leader who will make a call to retreat. It's to the point where the police has to act on it and try and prevent robberies by monkeys. If you go on YouTube, it's fascinating to see how organized they are.
That's an interesting observation. I guess my point I wanted to make is about success. I love to study success, and that's what interested me in Kent Hovind and how he mentioned evolution connected to communism, and how, and
how's evolution connected to communism? If
they want
evolution is one of the things that were banned in Russia once it became communist.
Really?
A communist country. Yes.
And they taught about God?
No.
what did they teach we came from?
I have no clue what they teach, but that's one of
Interesting
the
observation.
many lies that Hovens keeps telling people.
Well, I came from Soviet Russia. I mean, I know that it was all atheists, and basically the god was the communist government, and you had to worship them.
That was because who was it? Stalin who founded the whole communist thing.
Yeah, Lenin, Stalin.
He used to be a Russian Orthodox Christian, and he took a lot from Orthodox Christianity in his country and put that into his form of communism, because it was a very good way to suppress and control the people.
That's an interesting observation.
I say it's a well-known fact.
Yeah, well, so you're for communism? By the way,
No.
who would you vote for if you voted for this last election? Can we all say that?
I would have voted for Kamala Harris, because Trump is going to make you pay, literally, because of the things that he's going to implement.
I think the Democrats could have made a better candidate for themselves. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Like,
I mean, that goes for every political party ever. There's always a better candidate.
Yeah.
But so
see,
I don't think most Americans know what will happen if Trump is going to put in the tariffs.
What's going to happen. They're going to.
So if Trump puts in the tariffs, who's going to pay those tariffs? You think?
Bro, I don't think truck drivers are going to care about that. Truck drivers just want lower fuel prices, and that's what they had.
Exactly, and that's what you're not going to get. And that's exactly what you're not going to get.
Maybe not.
Because
maybe not
the tariffs,
right?
The tariffs are paid at the customs by the people who buy stuff from outside of the country. And so they need to increase prices for their American customers in order to keep afloat themselves. So the more tariffs Trump is going to implement, the more prices are going to go up in the U.S. And there's a lot of stuff that comes to the U.S. that is made in China.
Yeah, China's like the world's workshop.
All your American tools. Like Milwaukee, DeWalt.
Yeah,
all of that stuff is made in China.
Yes, everything.
So,
I don't think
Canadian.
we'll know. I don't think we'll know exactly who is the real president. If you know what I mean. I'm such a conspiracy theorist that the real people that run the world, we'll never know their names. And I entertain the thought of, by the way, Putin might have been dead years ago. Imagine creating an image that everyone will hate and only a few people that no one will know about will control and benefit financially from it. Because Putin had some serious cancer years ago. But I don't even know whether to believe
it. His opponents keep falling off of high-rise buildings. Getting poisoned.
Why would the wife wouldn't want to live with a body double? Is all I'm trying to say. That's why she moved.
There's a reason my country issued an arrest warrant for Putin, which is why they're contemplating on sending some nuclear missiles towards my country.
And well.
This was an interesting
that has been discussed on the highest level twice now.
That's why we appreciate the Netherlands and don't like the Danes. I mean, the Danes doesn't really factor into it. I just needed it to be said.
You just like the Danes? They're the nicest people on the planet. I've been there.
You gotta watch those Swedish chefs.
Rob Webster says, this truck driver didn't vote for Trump. I didn't vote at all.
if Stud
One-
wasn't sleeping right now to go up to work in 27 minutes, I would be so upset.
Oh, loo, 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 loo. Oi, loo, 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 loo,
This
loo.
was fun.
Yes.
This was fun. We should
Thank
should
you.
we do something else sometime? I mean,
Yeah, we can do also. We're going to have a Christmas show. I'm going to write some
Pagan
Christmas
Moss.
carols, you know.
I'd love to have a
So-
conversation with you.
So real quickly, can I, Serge, are you a Christian?
I like to call myself Serge the Car Hauler. But yeah, I guess for the lack of
okay.
time, yes.
Fair
I
enough.
believe in God. I believe in creation. I don't like Kent's peanut butter jokes, but I agree with some his ideas in the worldwide flood. I think
Okay.
I think that's the best takeaway for me from Kent is the worldwide flood.
Like you didn't believe in the worldwide flood before, Kent?
Well, I knew of Noah, from the Bible stories, in school or in Sunday school, but then it dawned on me that this actually could have happened, and floods make things look old. Floods make cars look old. So, a flooded car special, right? A discounted Bentley.
Would this be the right moment for me to say that there's an ark for sale in my country? $4 million. It floats.
Hey,
it comes with
I'm not saying
all
another
kinds of
flood is
stuffed
coming,
animals.
but the story continued to a rainbow where God promised no more flooding the entire planet, and that's where the
Sure.
rainbow came from, right? That's what the story says. So I was like, wow, this is kind of like some ideas that I didn't even voice to my teachers in school, but I was like, wow, I didn't know there's another way of thinking about this, and it made me stay in the Christian faith in my teens and understand it from what I believe is scientific level.
Okay.
But I'm not saying I like Kent as like he reminds me of the bully in school that bullied me. He really does.
Sure.
Like personally, I don't know if
I'm glad that you can see through that and see that part of him.
Yeah. And a lot of Russian churches and stuff that liked Kent, that Kent spoke at, his reputation really got ruined with the whole, second marriage, third marriage, but maybe him being in jail all those years had something to do with that. And I mean, I'm on my third serious relationship too. I didn't listen to Dad in my first marriage, and by the way, she was a Ukrainian girl. Stay away from those mayonnaise and condensed milk girls. But
well, as far as I'm concerned, as long as there's no jiggy before marriage, that's all right. That's what I'll, because I'm a very moral person.
Actually, I believe God is looking down and saying, "Boy,
that's why I never got married and never will get married."
Well,
there can't be any jiggy
that's a
before
tricky
marriage.
word too, because the government, wants your legal person to get married and then, be part of that. And I had my identity stolen by my brother. Stupid story. And believe it or not, I got an info product website. I made $130,000. I make like $2,000 a month selling an info product on. It caters to sovereign citizen type people. But I wrote that book because to help myself, because I didn't even know who I was after my brother said put 3 DUIs on my criminal record. And here DOT police is asking, how can you have truck driver insurance with 3 DUIs on your criminal record? I said, I don't know I had that. So when I discovered all this, I was like, how do I live? Who am I? And when I talk to officers now, when I go through airport checkpoints, I say, when they ask me, I need your ID, sir, I do talk a little bit like Kent Hovind does, as far as the legal department. I understand that I apologize to them. I say, oh my God, sir, I have not created my own ID. Neither have my parents created one for me. Would you accept this state ID, Florida driver license, to go through this checkpoint? And they're like, oh yeah, of course, go. I was like, thank you. It's not my ID. I'm just the authorized user. So I know from the legal, I learned enough that the legal language, the way it's written, is that, the all capital letters, that's our legal person. That's not per se me as a soul or spirit, and the Black's Law Dictionary doesn't even have that word soul. I was scared when I read the definition of person in the Black's Law Dictionary, which they use in court. I was like, wow, this is like a whole new matrix, and it resonated with so many people on the internet. And but it's so negative, like legal stuff. It's I just rather look at a cool car.
They don't use the Black's Law Dictionary in court.
What do they use?
Black's Law Dictionary is an outdated dictionary.
Buddy, well, they used it in. Well, they don't use Webster, buddy.
Serge, I have a couple more questions for you, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first one is you mentioned the flood. Kent's narrative about the flood was compelling to you. What was the most compelling part, just out of curiosity?
Just that there was a flood, and that the flood could make things look old.
Okay. All right. And then we've got a question from chat. Are you a sovereign citizen?
No.
No?
No, I'm
Okay.
not a police officer.
No, that's not what sovereign citizen.
Yeah, they are. Police are sovereign citizens. Okay, buddy. And I'm not. I'm a private civilian, just like you guys are, right? Just like you are. We're private civilians having a public conversation. But the guy in my wallet is my legal person, just like the guy in your wallet you carry is your legal person. And I choose to keep him in my wallet right now. We're just having this online conversation through our online names, like mine, Serge the Car Hauler. So, yeah, there is no such thing as a, those guys.
Am I in trouble now because my online name is the same as my daily life name?
If you have a brother like mine that will say your name when he gets pulled over for a DUI, goes to court, does a plea bargain deal, and puts his fingerprints on your criminal record, then you might be. But that's
okay.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Look, folks, I'm going to have to, literally in 5 minutes, I have to go and do some work because it's a different time zone. But 5 more minutes, okay? And then we can wrap it up.
Okay.
Yeah, real quick. You don't look like Daniel Craig. You look like Danny Kaye.
Danny, thank you.
He was a very good dancer.
You're actually right.
Yeah.
You guys, we got to continue this some other time.
Yes, we'll continue on.
Serge, is there a way to get in touch with you? Or are you on social media anywhere?
Yeah. My Instagram is Serge the Car Hauler, and my YouTube is Serge the Car Hauler. Got 2,000 videos, but I'm pretty active on the messages on the Instagram, Serge the Car Hauler. I mean, if you wanna,
Do you have an email address on your YouTube channel?
Buddy, hey, what's up? 612-850-9948 on the WhatsApp. If you guys abuse my phone number,
see now that's my problem. I have a Microsoft phone that runs on Windows, and that doesn't support WhatsApp.
Oh.
Well, the other thing is, of course, the other thing is that all of us pretty well are regulars on 2 other shows. One is called Missing Mod, Serge. It runs Missing Mod, M-O-D, Missing Mod. It's one word. And the other is Gangster Ghost. Now, they're both Christian streamers, but we often are on their shows. So if I write it in the chat, you can see the spelling of it, Missing Mod. And the other one is and they run, if one isn't running a show, the other will be normally every day. What time do they do their shows? EST?
12:30 Eastern.
Okay, so 12:30 Eastern time. Normally Missing Mod and Gangster Ghost are doing shows. And Peter, you normally come on Missing Mods for quite often too. So you can
Yes.
all meet up there. So I've put that in the chat. So Missing Mod is
Oh.
the spelling.
Oh, Serge,
And-
I found your website, so you do have.
Oh,
an email
good,
address.
perfect.
Sure.
All right, that's
Yeah,
good.
I offer some car hauler consultation on there, but
Everybody's
that's
happy.
self-stock.
Yeah.
in my American dream, but
Hmm.
I don't know.
Okay, so
I
I'm
don't
going to thank everybody and thank you, Serge, for coming on too.
Thank
Any
you.
Yeah, if I can
before?
leave you guys with anything, it's be do have, and the book Rich Dad Poor Dad.
All right, okay. And thank you, Peter, for coming on too. And, yeah.
It was
Thank
good
you
to meet you,
for
Serge.
doing a show for
Yes,
once
bye.
when I was awake.
Yeah, well, I'm awake, not work, as they say. Okay, thanks everybody. Bye bye.
Bye.
Oh, thanks, Claude.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. See ya.
Bye.
Balls.